All right, let's talk about planting. Today, we are putting together the ultimate guide, the master plan, for anyone who's ever stuck a plant in the ground and just hoped for the best. We're going to move past hope and build a real blueprint for success.
So let's just dive right in with the big question. Why? We've all seen it, haven't we? You've got one landscape that's just gorgeous and thriving, and the one right next to it is, well, struggling, to put it nicely. It can be super frustrating. So what is the secret?
You start with this amazing vision in your head of a perfect, lush landscape. But the reality? It can often turn into a sad collection of plants that are barely hanging on, or worse. It's a really common story, but it absolutely does not have to be yours. That gap between the dream and the reality, it's not as big as you think.
And here is the absolute key takeaway. The difference between success and failure is not luck. It has nothing to do with having some kind of magical green thumb. Real lasting success comes from following a proven professional process, a blueprint, and that's exactly what we're going to walk through right now.
And here it is. These are the 5 key principles, the foundation of any successful planting project. Seriously, think of this as your roadmap to get from that frustrating reality to that thriving vision. We're going to tackle each one step by step, and I'll show you how they all lock together.
First up, principle number 1. Start with the plan. This is non-negotiable. It is the foundation for absolutely everything that comes after. Professional results begin right here, long before a shovel ever touches the dirt.
And this quote, it really hits the nail on the head. Getting this first step wrong is just incredibly expensive. You're wasting time, you're wasting a ton of money, and you can't just easily hit an undo button. So, the plan? That's your insurance policy against a really costly mistake.
So, what are you actually doing when you start with the plan? Well, you're basically being a detective. You're confirming everything: the layout, the specific plants, their exact positions, and here's the most important part. You have to check the plants you actually have against that plan and report any issues before you start digging. That's crucial. Okay, let's move on to principle 2, and you'll see how this builds on the first one. Assess the site. A perfect plan and a perfect plant mean absolutely nothing if the ground you're putting them in is all wrong. You have got to know your ground.
And this is exactly why. This quote makes it crystal clear. Bad soil will sabotage your entire project, no matter how carefully you do everything else. I mean, if the soil is compacted solid, or it doesn't drain, or has no nutrients, that plant just doesn't stand a chance.
So your site assessment needs to be systematic, like a checklist. You're checking the soil, figuring out what it needs, clearing away any junk, and, this is a big one, locating any underground services. That last point is absolutely non-negotiable.
And let's be perfectly clear about this. This isn't just a friendly suggestion. Digging without knowing what's under the surface can lead to serious injury, huge disruptions, and major legal trouble. You just have to locate those services first, period.
Okay, on to principle 3. Inspect the plants. So, we've got our plan, we've prepped the site, and now we turn to the plants themselves. The mantra here is simple. You've probably heard it before. Quality in, quality out.
And I want you to think about the ripple effect here. When you plant an unhealthy plant, you don't just lose the money you spent on the plant. You lose all the time and money you spent on site prep and all the effort you put into planting it. It's a complete waste, all down the line. So you need a process. You have to inspect every single plant. Look for signs of good health. Check those roots. And listen, don't be afraid to reject plants with major problems. It's so much cheaper in the long run. Minor issues, yeah, you can often trim or treat those, but you have to make that call before it goes in the ground.
All right, now for principle 4, finish with care. Honestly, this is where so many projects fall apart. The plant is in the ground and people think, phew, job's done. But really, the most critical work has only just begun. This right here really drives the point home. You can do everything else perfectly. The plan, the site, the plant inspection, but if you just walk away and neglect the aftercare, that plant can still die. Those first few days and weeks are absolutely make or break.
So what does great aftercare look like? Well, you've got to water immediately to help settle the soil right up against the roots. Mulch is your best friend. It locks in moisture and keeps weeds down. A little strategic pruning can set the plant up for a lifetime of healthy growth. And finally, you have to go back, review your work, and fix anything that doesn't look right. And that brings us to our 5th and final principle. This is the one that wraps around everything else we've talked about. Work safely, always. Because let's be real, the most important and valuable tool on any project is you.
The key point here is that safety is not a checkbox you tick off at the end of the day. It is the framework you build before you even start. Workplace health and safety has to be priority number one, not just some afterthought.
And the risks are very real out there. You're dealing with heavy lifting, maybe machinery or chemicals. You've got the weather to deal with, and even biological hazards that could mess with existing plants. Just acknowledging these risks is the first step to managing them properly.
This means you have a personal commitment to safety. You identify the hazards before you start. You use the right personal protective equipment, and you make sure it fits. You keep your work area clean and safe for everyone. Safety is an active, ongoing thing.
So let's bring it all home. The plan gives you direction. The site gives you a solid foundation. The plants bring the quality. The care ensures survival. And safety protects the whole operation, including you. See how each step builds on the last? It's a system.
And look, this is so much more than just ticking off boxes on a checklist. Following this blueprint is what separates the amateurs from the professionals. It's a recipe that, when you follow it, consistently creates a beautiful, healthy, thriving landscape.
So there you have it. The blueprint is complete, and now it's yours. The only question left is, what amazing things are you going to grow?